Hello. Let us quickly touch on long range reconnaissance patrols, LRRP. Okay. A long range reconnaissance patrol is a multi day, non stop patrol to gain recon, not fight. Not fight. Not to fight. All right. If you are spotted during your long range reconnaissance patrol, you have quote unquote failed the mission, right? Busted. So, because the goal is to not be seen and we are not interested in fighting, typically we're going to massively reduce our numbers, which is going to help us in that not getting seen. We could go all the way down to the extreme level of 2 men, but we could be upwards of up to 6 men, right? Typically, we're going to not take armor. Again, the plan is to not be shot at. We're going to have big bags because we're going to have to be living out of our bags for several days or maybe even a couple weeks. We're going to be moving slow because our load is heavy and we are being sneaky. All right, bounding Overwatch movements. What that means is rather than patrolling, rather than just moving together at a good, slow rate of pace, we're actually going to move one after the other, right? So from start, somebody's going to be in a good covered and concealed position, and they're just going to stand there and they're going to watch. They're going to watch for anybody possibly that might see this other team that moves while this other team moves a little bit. And then they're going to stop at the next piece of good cover and concealment, and they're going to chill. They're going to stop. These guys are going to wait. Once they've stopped and they're set and there's a slight pause, right, giving any enemy or anybody that might have spotted you an opportunity to react, then this team's going to stand up and they're going to move slowly to the next piece of cover and concealment, and then they're going to stop. And there's going to be a brief pause, which allows the enemy or anybody that might have seen you to give them an opportunity to react. And then this team's going to get up and they're going to move a ways, right? So on and so forth. This is painstakingly slow. It feels brutal. But it's how you can manage to not get spotted, right? And if you do get spotted, you can manage to break contact pretty rapidly. You like that spin action? My shit was loose. All right. Right? So if I'm in a covered, concealed position, and then I'm starting to move slowly, and then somebody sees me over here, I can already rapidly engage them from this position where they did not see me, which allows this team to pop smoke and evade, and then while they're all discombobulated, we can roll out. Break contact drill. All right. So that's bounding Overwatch. That's how you move, or at least how I would suggest for you to move while you're on a long-range reconnaissance patrol. When you do need to sleep, you're going to sleep in 4-hour shifts, probably at 50%, 2 shifts a night. So you're only getting 4 hours of sleep a night. Only going to drop down to 50% of your guys asleep at a time. Because you are out in the middle of fucking nowhere, quote unquote, behind enemy lines or whatever Metal Gear Solid shit you want to say to yourself. So we're not being comfy. We're not taking long naps. We're not all getting real cozy. We're staying real light, real tight, real frosty. All right? We're packing with us lots of signal gathering gear, like signal intelligence gathering gear. So we want to identify if there's any radio frequencies in these areas, and if there are, we want to figure out what those radio frequencies are, and then if we can, intercept, listen to, see those transmissions. We're going to be gathering or bringing with us lots of optics, right? Because we want to physically see, right? Night vision, thermals, binoculars, spotting scopes, rifles with higher power magnification on them, stuff to observe our terrain so we can get a better idea what's going on, right? That's the whole reason we're out here, is to observe this area. We're on a long-range reconnaissance patrol. Wonderful. You need to take lots of notes. Right? You're not going to remember everything, so everything you see and hear and think to yourself about what you see and hear, you need to write down so that can be referenced in the debrief. the more details, the better in those notes. The people we want to take with us, right? This is a pretty big boy operation. We are mixing survival in with fighting, and we are stacking the odds against ourselves if we do get into a fight. So we want competent fighters that can think, that can do land nav, and are fit, right? If there's anybody that's barely making that Minuteman fitness standard, probably don't bring them on the long-range reconnaissance patrol. Boom. Yep. I mean, it's a really complicated thing. And, you know, I skimmed over a bunch of stuff. I didn't incorporate camouflage, I already talked about. I didn't incorporate how to utilize those optics. Didn't incorporate how to talk about observation. It's not what we're going to do in all those details. This is just an overview of what a long-range reconnaissance patrol is, what it entails. So, yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and end it there.